All right, welcome back to another video. Today's video, I'm going to be continuing the work on my 2015 F150. So in this video, we're going to call it the front end conversion. So as you can see, this F150 started out as a XL work truck. We're just doing some simple upgrades to make it look a little bit better. We're also going to be changing the grille to the Raptor style black Ford grille. And then the headlights are going to be upgraded to Morimoto XB hybrid LED headlights at the same time, which are plug and play. So that will be a complete front end makeover for the F150. Alright, so to get these covers off, there's a little push pin, and it helps to have a plastic trim removal tool like this. Get that push pin out and pull that up. Just make sure you save all these little clips. And by using a tool like this, it will keep you from breaking them and having to replace them. So there's a million clips all along the grill. I'm not going to focus on the grill for just this second. Right now I'm just going to focus on getting this piece off right here. So after that, there's just clips that are kind of holding it in place. If you just gently kind of pull those clips out, you can see they're already getting access. There's bolts that hold the grill on. If you were just doing the grill, you could just kind of pull this back. Since we're doing the headlights and we're painting this, we need to remove all of this anyway. So come around over here to the side. There are a couple of small bolts just holding the trim on the side. So if you have fender flares, you'd have to remove the fender flares also. I don't have those to worry about, so I'm just going to remove those couple of bolts, and then that piece will pop off, and it's the exact same thing on the other side. Okay. Make sure none of your tabs got ripped off underneath. That's how we remove that. So now we're to the point where we can actually get to the headlights. And to remove the headlights, there's like 5 million bolts. There's like here, 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 here. 2 on the side here. That whole part has to come out. And then you have a couple bolts up here. I believe there's some. Oh, we'll see. That might be it. That's what you have to do to remove the headlight assembly. Some of them are 10mm. Alright, there's one more 10mm bolt. Looks like back here. Alright, so on the side piece, I kind of didn't show it. There's a clip right here that clips into the metal, and you have to reach in here with needle nose pliers and compress the tabs while pulling out on it, and that's kind of releases it from the side. They really didn't want this to come off easy, so plenty of fasteners to undo. Alright, so here's one of the XB hybrid lights. See what it looks like. So it uses the OEM turn signal, just goes back in here, but it's got the LED high and low beam, and then your LED DRL, which will have to be wired up on a separate circuit. It's easy to do. So just, everything else just plugs in the factory wiring for your marker light, and this is for your DRL. There's a separate harness for that. This plugs into your regular headlight wiring. We put the turn signal bulb there, and then we just basically bolt it back in. There are adjustments for the top and bottom set right here where my thumbs are. You can actually get to those after the headlights are installed by removing a few of the bolts in the fender well here and then adjusting it through the fender well. Okay, so to put this in, so just take our turn signal, turn it back in. And then plug in these other harnesses here. And like I said, their DRL harness will plug into that here in a second. Set this here. Alright, so here's that harness I'm talking about. So there's this little fuse tap here, as you can see. And this is going to run up into the power distribution center up under the hood here. I'll show you what circuit that plugs into. Kind of depends on your model year though. And then this runs down to the front here on this side and plugs in. Then you have to run across under the grill. You want to zip tie this up so it doesn't just, it's not just hanging. And then this one plugs into the other side there. All right, so once you get the new headlight kind of set in place, we're gonna put this 10mm bolt back in here. Before you can put the new headlight on, make sure you transfer this one bracket from the bottom of the headlight. There's 3 T25 Torx bits. And then what we'll do, come over here, and we'll just bolt to the bottom of the headlight. Actually, like this to the bottom of the headlight. Alright, so once you get your headlights secure and you run your harness, I've got the wire just kind of like laid here. I'm going to put it in some nylon tubing just to protect it. But we want to come get over to the fuse block over here and just show you what it does. I'll just touch the positive terminal on the battery here. You can see how bright the DRLs are. What this is doing is this is energized when the vehicle is running, and that's what, you know, turns on the really bright DRLs. And then when the headlights come on, it dims them, or when the parking lights are on, so like at night. But yeah, so when it's running, that's how we make it so it works when the truck is just running. So we're gonna open up the fuse panel here. Okay, so just pull up on this tab here, pull this out, and then the one we want is supposedly number 113. So if we look, there's a little key right here that shows us what's what. So 113 should be this top left one right here. It says it's a 7.5 amp. And then we'll look on here, see, probably can't see that focus. It's a 7.5 amp fuse. The one that's the pass through, and then just a little 3 amp fuse that runs up to the front. So all I gotta do is pop that out of there. And then this just replaces that fuse. So just push that down in there like that, and we'll route the wires down here. They'll just come out of the top of the box. And it's gonna be really snazzy. You can just take a pair of needle nose pliers and notch out a little relief. That way the wire doesn't get pinched in there when you close the lid. All right, so here's that wire. Like I said, I've got it in some of this nylon tube. It runs down. I've got it zip tied, so that way it's not just flopping around under here. The other wire runs up, and then it runs across. If you lift this up, you can see there's a little channel across the front here that wire's tucked down in. It runs across the front and then comes out over here. And I've got a little more nylon loom tube, and I'll tuck this down in here. And then it'll come out right down here and be plugged in with all the other harnesses. And so I just hit the unlock button. See, that's what our daytime running lights and parking lights look like together. You'll see if I turn the key forward, they become much brighter because they're just our daytime running lights. There's how it looks. Now if I spin you around here real quick, show you the cutoff on the cardboard. You can see the two headlights are aimed perfectly with each other. Razor sharp cutoff right across the middle. So we'll see how they are actually out on the road at night. Hopefully, fingers crossed I don't have to do any adjusting, but if I do, it won't be hard. All right, you can see I'm in the middle of installing the Raptor style grille. Gonna complete the front end here. So it's got the 3 lights, LEDs in the grille, and we'll need to tie into the parking lights. So the wire you want to tie into is this parking light feed for the headlight here on the passenger side, and the brown and yellow striped wire, in my case on this 2015, is the positive, and the black with the gray stripe is your negative. So we'll just tie these into here. I'm going to cut and solder them to splice mine in. You could use those those little clip connections, but those don't really last very long, especially out where there's any kind of weather. So now I've got my freshly painted plastic parts here I'm installing. There it is, all put back together. So if I hit the unlock button, see your lights come on the front. There's the painted finish looks like. It is a match, but the plastic parts always look slightly different when you repaint them, unfortunately. I don't know if you can tell on video, but the 2 shades of white are just a hair off. I mean, you probably wouldn't notice if you weren't looking for it. I know you wouldn't notice if you weren't looking for it. Alright, so here's the nighttime view on the XP hybrids. So you can see if I turn them off, those are our daytime running lights, which are extremely bright. Just our park lights. There's our sharp cutoff line. You can see it kind of steps up on the right side. Up on the high beam. See the difference. So I did have to aim them up a little bit, but the good thing is the adjustment screws, you can reach an 8mm socket from the top under the hood for the low beams. If you need to adjust the high beams, you're going to have to go under and remove some screws in the fender wells to get those out, to adjust that. But it looks good. Take it for a drive, make sure it translates to being on the road, a good cutoff, but I think where I've got them right here will work pretty good. Alright, so here's the cutoff on the road. Got them aimed about right. Any higher, I know I'm going to be blinding people, but just that real sharp cutoff on the projector, so basically anything past that and it's off. I'll show you if I turn on the high beam, the brights. It helps when you're out on a dark country road like this. I think I got them about where I want them. Low beams. You can actually see to the sides if I flip on the highs. So I think that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. I'm very happy with how it turned out. The Morimoto XB hybrid headlights, they're actually better than I thought they would be. Can't imagine what the full XBs would be like. The hybrids are more than enough. Definitely a big upgrade over stock for sure. And obviously now is the time to do the grille. Well, I was going to be taking everything apart anyway. So I really like how it turned out as well. There'll be links in the description below if you want to buy any of the parts that I use in the video, just as a courtesy to you. Be sure to leave a comment, like the video, subscribe for more F150 videos. Until next time, we'll see you later.